Hi everyone, welcome back to Narration for another week of Reddit stories that you have to hear in order to believe. This week we're diving into relationship advice. This post is from Throwaway467. OP is a 24-year-old female. My husband, a 32-year-old male, makes fun of me for having a higher sex drive than him. I don't know why he does it. I've learned to just have fun with myself because I know he gets annoyed if I start asking for extracurricular activities more than once a day. So I have fun with myself all day until I get to have extracurricular activities with him at bedtime. Every time he walks in on me, though, he makes snarky remarks about how I'm addicted or need some help. It's not even like that's all I do all day long. I usually do it 2 to 3 times during the day, along with cleaning, cooking, and kid duties. It used to be so much easier when he wasn't working from home. I hate the way he makes me feel about it. He just acts like it's a big joke every time I bring it up too. Any ideas on how to make him stop? And here's an update from OP. Thanks to all the non-judgy, actually here to give advice people, and to all the people who think 2 to 3 times a day is too much. I'm sorry you're not cool enough to feel yourself multiple times a day. I have busy days and do everything I need to do as a stay-at-home mom and wife. I'm definitely not addicted and don't see why I can't take a 5-minute break a couple times a day. In the comments section, T15 has this to say. I'm really conflicted about this one. Some of the comments in this thread are toxic AF about women and their extracurricular activities. OP, without judgment, I urge you to speak to a counselor to see if you need to address underlying issues, just to rule it out at the very least. Have a serious discussion with your husband that his belittling remarks are hurtful and need to stop. If he won't, I would recommend couples counseling. I wish you good health. I really agree with T15 here. For one thing, everyone has different drives. So I don't think 2 or 3 times a day of having fun with herself is an issue in any way. I think that's just a personal choice. And as long as she's fulfilling her other responsibilities in life based on the agreement that she made with her partner for how they split their life responsibilities, and it's not getting in the way of her life and relationships, then really she's not hurting anyone. She's really just providing herself with some self-care and taking a break, just like she said. The husband, on the other hand, I have a massive issue with. So what is it about what OP is doing that gets the husband so on edge that he would be making belittling and rude comments about that? Let's look at it from another vein. I really love to read. When I take breaks, I read multiple times a day. My husband walks in on me reading all the time. He's not belittling me or telling me, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. He's just seeing me taking a break, seeing me taking care of myself, and seeing me doing some self-care. So OP, I'm definitely on the side of meeting with a relationship counselor or a marriage counselor, talking through those issues and getting to the root of where your husband's belittling is coming from, because that's not a supportive partner. That's very problematic behavior. Our next post comes from Throwaway IDK. And OP is an 18-year-old female. My stepmom keeps telling me intimate details about her extracurricular life with my father. The title, that's all. I don't want to be too graphic in my description, but she tells me really intimate details and it's so disgusting. Example, your dad's been begging me for, how do I phrase this? Backyard extracurricular activities? I'll go with that. And I finally let him. Insert even worse details here. Oh no. Why would she say that? Poor OP. I don't need to know that, and I don't want to know that. Ew. And yes, I tried telling her that, but she won't shut up about it. I literally made gagging noises while she was telling me, but she won't take the hint to shut up about it. She always does this, but it really got out of hand since I got back home. She seriously has a problem. Once we were at family dinner with her whole family, and I was putting the dishes in the kitchen and she happened to be there, and she randomly, like out of nowhere, told me something disgusting like that. Oh my gosh. OP has an update. Thank goodness. First off, thank you to everyone that tried to help. I figured the right thing to do was talk to my dad. She said some gross stuff to me yesterday. This morning I talked to my dad while she was asleep. Turns out she reached out to him before I did. I still don't understand why she did and why she did it or what she did or what she wants, but I now know she's not as innocent as I thought she was. I sat down with my dad and told him I needed to talk to him about something important, and he immediately asked if she's bothering me, and I said yes. He said that she's looking out for me because my mom's not around. Turns out she's been filling his head with quite some BS. She convinced him that I have no control over my behavior, that I'm a repulsive teenager, and that I go out and party too much. I literally haven't, quote unquote, partied since like the 11th grade. Then he told me she plans on talking to me about my habits and probably will soon. I honestly was scared that he would think I was lying if I told him about the stuff she tells me, and I was worried he would think I'm just saying that to get back at her, but it was too late to back off, and I'm thankful I told him. I told my dad she's been telling me gross stuff about their relationship together, extracurricular stuff, and I don't want to hear about it. He kept asking me, and I brought up the thing they tried lately, and I told him I asked her to stop, but she wouldn't, and I asked him to talk to her. And after some silence, he said he would talk to her about it, but I have to respect that she's looking out for me if she talked to me about the other thing, aka my wild partying habits that only she magically notices and knows about. I don't know how he believes her. He talked to her earlier. She still didn't talk to me about anything. Edit, I feel like I didn't make it clear enough. My dad was shocked by it. He didn't tell me what he said, but he just told me that he talked to her. Oh my gosh. No, I wouldn't want to hear that from either of my parents. That's just so wildly inappropriate. It seems like there's some weird, I don't know, possessive territorial stuff going here with the stepmom. Like she's trying to put her seal of this is mine, your dad is mine and not yours in a really creepy, over informative way, almost like she's trying to draw the line with OP to say, your father's mine, not yours, even though OP obviously in no way is interested in her father like that. I think there's some insecurity and jealousy issues happening here with the stepmom, and that's why she's kind of behaving so ridiculously. But I'm sorry, OP, I definitely wouldn't have wanted to hear any of those details from my own parents. Gross. Our next post comes from Deleted. Important to note, OP is a 14-year-old female, so she's underaged. My teacher, a 41-year-old male, sent me inappropriate photos of himself. Ugh, this is already making me feel the heebie-jeebies. Hi, sorry if this is kind of rambly, but I'm anxious. So last night, I received an email from my teacher, and there was around 7 photos of his lower body half. Ugh! I didn't respond to the email. I'm not sure if it was accidental or he is a creep. I haven't told anyone about this, and I'm lost as to what I should do. I don't want to start drama, and I don't want this to spread around my school. Any advice would be really appreciated. So down in the comment section, thank goodness, we have a lot of really concerned adults who are here to give some really, really important advice to OP. She's only 14, and I can't even imagine being in this position. So Lost Little Puppy in the comments says, I would tell your principal and other people in charge, you are underage. Regardless if it was accidental, it shouldn't be something he's sending out and certainly not being sent to you. Don't let the drama of it get in the way. Report it because you may not be the only girl in the class getting these quote unquote accidental emails. Hawkins5 also gives some really great advice. Tell your parents or someone immediately. That is not accidental at all. Doesn't matter if it will be spread unless you tell people it was you that received it. Nobody else will know except for administration. Drama doesn't matter because that's hella predatory behavior. Something that private, you should double or triple check the person you're sending it to so it's not an accident. Also, email? Who sends that stuff in an email? I'm assuming that's the only contact method he has for you. Yeah, so not an accident. And OP posted a short update. Thank you all for your support. I've told my parents about the situation. We had a talk about it and everything will be all right. It was pretty awkward talk, but I trust that my mom will figure it out. That's great to hear. Good job, OP. You made the right decision telling your parents. As was mentioned in the comments, this guy is targeting young girls and the odds are you're not the only one. There's probably other girls out there, and it was incredibly brave of you to tell your parents, but good for you. That's exactly what you needed to do. Our final post comes from Throwaway Baby Exchange, and OP is a 27-year-old female. My 32-year-old stepbrother has been taking my 2-year-old son to see my ex in exchange for money. Oh no. My son is 2.5, and he's recently been talking about his daddy a lot. As far as I was aware, he had never met his dad since my ex didn't want me to keep him, and we broke up when I had a really bad breakdown at the abortion clinic. He still tried to persuade me to go back. My sister-in-law babysits my son for me occasionally, and I thought he had just picked up the word from her kids. Other weird things I'd noticed recently was that my stepbrother was constantly arranging playdates at his house and would never invite my sister-in-law's nephew, who is closer in age to his children. My stepbrother is also not a very involved dad, so it was strange that he suddenly had such an interest in my son when he barely had any in his own children. Ooh, massive red flag. Another weird thing was that he was always buying my son a lot of gifts, even though he's never bought anyone a gift since I've known him. My sister-in-law recently found out that my stepbrother was cheating on her and finally confessed the truth to me yesterday. All of those times I thought they were watching my son, they were actually taking him to see his dad, who was paying them to arrange all of this. According to my sister-in-law, my ex tried to reach out just after my son was born, but my stepbrother told him I was mentally fragile and it would be a bad idea for him to speak to me because the breakup had caused me to completely lose it, and they were worried contact from me would cause me to go off the rails again. At first, my stepbrother was just giving my ex small updates about me and the baby, but after my sister-in-law started babysitting for me, my ex offered them a lot of money in exchange to see our son. My sister-in-law justified it by saying they needed the money, and since she was babysitting for free, I should understand. I am beyond angry right now. I've never tried to stop my ex from having contact with our son, but he still decided to be sneaky. I told my parents what happened, and my stepmom is telling me to just let things continue how they are because my stepbrother needs the money, and also my son is getting to bond with his dad this way. She also pointed out that this way I don't have to deal with my ex because my stepbrother handles everything, and since they're sneaking around, I get to dictate when he sees him. I'm not sure what to do now. I did text my ex asking him to call me, but he made some BS excuse about how he had meetings all day, and he'll try to call me later if he gets the chance. I thought I would post this before we talk since I'm not sure what to say or how to stay calm. I also don't know what to do about my stepbrother. I could really use help in figuring this one out. Oh my gosh. Well, for one thing, OP, the fact that your stepbrother thinks it's okay to basically be pimping out your son in exchange for money, completely behind your back and without your consent when you're the one who gets to make that call, is entirely inappropriate. The fact that your stepmother is telling you to just let it go because your brother needs the money, that's disgusting. And she should honestly be really ashamed of herself. So OP's left an update. I spoke to my ex. Most of the conversation was him repeatedly saying how sorry he was and how he knows he messed up. He verified the story my sister-in-law told me. He claimed he felt really guilty for what he had done when my stepbrother told him seeing him would do more harm than good, and he thought staying away was the least he could do. He said the original agreement was for him to see our son once, and then my stepbrother would just continue giving him updates, but my stepbrother kept offering to bring him again, and he couldn't say no. He said for the past 8 months, he was seeing him every time I left him with my sister-in-law, and that it was always at his house, and there was no one else around. My stepbrother would leave and come back to get him. Also, he was paying him £200 per visit, and all of those gifts my stepbrother was buying my son were actually from his father. We agreed for him to come over on Saturday so we can talk about potential visitations and what a co-parenting relationship would look like. He wanted to meet me tomorrow, but I'm still angry, so I asked for a day to process things. OP, you are an amazing mother. You're definitely the bigger person here. I'm really, really impressed with your willingness to include your son's father in his life, even after all the sneaking around, and that you're willing to have a conversation about what that can look like, because at the end of the day, this is your son's father and they seem to have been growing a bond, so it makes sense that they should be able to see each other. I'm also really glad that you get your vengeance and revenge in this a little bit by cutting your greedy stepbrother and sister-in-law off at the source so that they can't financially benefit anymore from your son seeing his father. That's just despicable. If I were you, I'd cut them off too. So those are our Reddit stories from r/RelationshipAdvice. If you really like this content, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to this channel. Turn on notifications so that you can know every time a new episode goes up. I post a new episode every week. Tune in next time for more ridiculous Reddit stories that you have to hear to be able to believe. See you next time.